Hi, and welcome to Module 5 of the Competent Benefits Manager course. In this one, we're going to look at realising the benefits, or happily called delivering the prize. So, let's just check where we are on the old cycle. We set out a benefits management context at the start, strategy and all those things. Then we romped through the identification of benefits, and then you went and applied them to your own scenario. We then looked at the tools around profiling and planning for change and realisation, which hopefully you've been away and applied to your program as well. And now we're talking about transition and delivery. So let's work out how we find the prize. So things we need to be thinking about. Transition and survival. When some of the big programs are going live, it is absolutely more about survival than releasing benefits. Business change is a dangerous thing, yeah, full of pitfalls, and hopefully you won't fall into them by thinking about it. We've got to turn the project outputs into business outcomes. That's basically delivering the elements of our blueprint from the program. We need to balance the rate of change with performance. If we go too fast, the performance will collapse. If we go too slow, we use up too much organisation oxygen and it doesn't have momentum and it can die out. We need to maintain focus and communicate extensively on what we're trying to achieve to keep all the stakeholders on board, the staff that do the job day to day. Why is all this change hitting them? And obviously we need to be making sure that we're not overdosing of change from other areas, managing the disbenefits, the downsides of what we are doing will actually be seen that way by certain stakeholders. So we need to be able to manage their perception. We need to be monitoring for excessive deviation. This is where we're doing change control on benefits, organisational change, project changes to scope. All those things can combine to cause us problems with benefits, because we actually do the transition and find the facilities we needed weren't there because a project manager or a project board has decided to reduce the scope, which didn't affect their project, kept them in time and cost, but actually has affected what we needed. Capture unexpected improvements and opportunities. You know, we already seen the stuff from 90% of benefits are never delivered. Well, benefits are delivered, they're just not recorded. So we may be delivering improvements that we didn't expect. You need to be capturing that as you go along. Maintaining our benefits documentation, keeping our plans up to date, making sure our profiles are up to date, keeping our reports going on a monthly basis. Program reports shouldn't just talk about how the projects are doing, they should be absolutely focused on the readiness for change and what the operational people are doing to prepare. And of course, monitor for double counting. Right, so we're not claiming benefits that others are claiming, but more dangerously, other people are claiming our benefits. Yeah, so we've set out how we're going to deliver those benefits, but we've delivered the capability and suddenly somebody else has claimed it. Maybe the operations people have gone, look what we've saved, and ignored the fact it's the program that gave them the ability. So it is double counting, but it's not, quite often it's other people kind of, how can I call it? Borrowing our benefits, we call it that. Okay, here we go then. Let's look at what MSP said. Realising the benefits. We're actually in the managing transition stage in this one. Yeah, pre-transition's done. We're now talking about the issues we need to think about in transition and post-transition. So we're actually what support, but what the slides that are to come are really about measuring performance and success and some things to think about. Okay, so this is a really important slide. As we go through change, we're affecting people. And unless we're implementing something that removes people from the process completely, we need to be aware of this curve, which is often called the bereavement curve. Because as people go through change, they suffer emotionally. So when they find out something big is happening, there's quite often shock, and the journey they go through is shock, denial, anger, why are they doing it to me, blaming somebody else, and then they start to adapt it and maybe don't blame somebody else. They think it's something they've done wrong and they're bargaining and with themselves about how to cope with it. And then they hit the bottom of the curve. They're in depression and confusion. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, always at some point they accept this bad thing has happened and then they try to come to terms with it, was what we call problem solving. Now, when you think about when you're delivering changes, whether it's involving redundancies, outsourcing, when you're actually affecting people, they're all going to go through this. It's going to affect their morale, their energy, and their performance. And you need to manage this. Pre-transition is trying to get people through this. Yeah, we're going to, at the start of a program, a major shock, my job's at threat, etc., etc., etc. We've got to help them through this. And the only tool we've got is really communications. But of course, as we're going through it, it's going to affect performance. And the problem here is that the performance is likely to drop in the preparation of a program. Yeah, in the pre-transition period, that's when all the performance issues are likely to hit. So we may find that when we arrive to go live in a program, the organization is already underperforming from where it was when we measured it before the program started. So you have to be really clear on this, because if that has happened, then you don't want your program being blamed for the drop in performance. Yeah, because people are so busy worrying about the future or looking forward to the future. They don't want to do the current and they don't want to do their day job because they're all off doing exciting things. So we've really got to think about managing the human side of change. This is a concept called tipping point. Okay, and the transition that's going to happen during your program tracks this. So as we see here on the far side of the graph, we're seeing the dotted line, the amount of change effort. That's the business change teams and all their support. And we're seeing the start of the adoption of the new working practices, the new systems. And as the adoption grows, the amount of change management effort reduces. Now, the interesting thing about Gladwell's research is showing that actually we assume the change effort drops away in a kind of sequential or gradual point. But you can see like it's like a range of mountains. At the top there, it's going up and down, up and down. And this is highlighting a massive problem for benefits. Because when they go live, the transition's completed, in theory, everything's up and running. That's when the change management effort gets cut away, and it's cut away far too soon. So when we're thinking about post-transition, it's where's the tipping point? Where's the point where the organization is able to support itself and perform without the additional change management effort? So that graph in the tipping point can be looking at a number of areas. And in this one, we've come up with a few areas that you could manage. And we've come under customers. Are we retaining them? Are they happy? Are they profitable? All of those can have their own graphs. People, what are we seeing going on in that the bereavement curve? Are we seeing absenteeism? Are we seeing churn? Are people leaving? I remember when I was involved in a program to redesign how health and safety worked in an organization, a very famous one, and they had the idea of creating a shared service center where all these health and safety guys would be on the phone rather than actually out on the shop floor or out on location as it was with that organization. And and the idea was to reduce the amount of health and safety people, so it was an efficiency thing. What nobody expected was once we announced the restructure, these people were so highly valued and skilled, they all left. Yep, so they actually resigned and went to other organizations. So instead of actually consolidating and reducing the workforce, what actually happened is they ended up with a smaller workforce by mistake and a less skilled workforce that they had to spend money to recover for the post-transition operations. So think about aptism, churn. Are they happy? Are they leaving? What is it they're doing? What's their performance like? And then the other quadrant, productivity. Is our unit cost coming down? Is it going up? Are we seeing better quality, or are people disillusioned during the change and the quality is dropping? And are we getting the volumes through? Productivity, financial, cost of sales, cash flow, capital, returns on investment, all those things. So we should be running and monitoring a range of numbers in this. Don't just look at productivity. Don't just look at customers. Don't just look at people or finance. Look at the whole lot and see, is the whole organization at the point or getting to where is it on its change cycle using tipping point in terms of performance. And we can use something like this. So this is using the Six Sigma model. So basically you've got the lower specification, the lower control, upper control and upper specification. The two red bars, the specification bars, are the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. All right. Yeah. If we're looking at a process that's a performance number, you know, we never want it to it should never go this low and it's never gone above this height. And then what we've got is upper control and lower control. These are the numbers that we say, well, as long as they stay within those numbers, we'll be happy. Yeah, as long as the performance stays within those, we're still a sustainable organization or business. And so what we can do then is track between those lines. So what do you think happens if you go outside the upper and control limit? Yeah, you would be thinking about bringing in your contingency plan. Maybe if you start hitting those lower or higher control limits, whichever one's good, or well, let's assume they're both bad, all right? If you're hitting those, then you might need to back off the rate of change. Yeah, and if it's staying quite close to the norm performance, so we're not seeing the failures happening, you can accelerate the rate of change. Now, in the middle, it says before, current and future. It's because you have to have where you started, the as-is state, where you are today, and are we on the way to the future? Going back to the tipping point graph, are we going to make it? Are we able to say we can take that change effort away now, or is it still needed? And then think about the benefits trajectory. Yeah, we may well have said we're going to deliver, if you look up in the top right-hand circle there, the destination we're aiming for, we may have been aiming for benefit 1, which was the best case. And then as part of our risk management, we may have said, well, actually, there's a best case and a worst case, which is B4. We're targeting B1 all the way through, but we can track that gradual change in performance. And we might say the most likely now is a B3 or a B2, you know, whatever benefit forecast we were going for. And of course, we may be lucky, well, not lucky, it's going to be good management, that we can actually exceed B1 because the organization coped with the change better than we expected. We can declare victory sooner than we expected and we can have a big party. All right, so that's the benefits trajectory. Are we on course? And this links back to risk, or the risk stuff that we've done, or the categorization, because there could be different groups of benefits in there with different forecasts. All right, so that's the picture that we need to be working to. So that's the end of this module. It's the last video on the course, so I hope you've really enjoyed it. I hope that you can take these ideas away now, back into your workplace and apply them to your own program. And we hope that you deliver wonderful benefits. And we hope you get the qualification at the end of the course. Anyway, thanks for your time. I look forward to meeting you one day.